Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and well, today was the day. I kind of wanted to stay up late last night because VHS Beyond came out, aka VHS, what is this, 7? I think it's VHS 7. Anyway, I've been so stoked for this movie. I know it released the same day today as Salem's Lot's remake on HBO Max or whatever that app's called now. And I haven't watched that yet. I may or may not watch that tonight. I kind of want to watch something else tonight. But we'll see, you know? Hopefully you'll see a review from me sometime this weekend for that, because I love reviewing new releases when they come out, but I do have some stuff that has come out in the last month that I do want to cover sometime soon. Anyway, back to VHS Beyond. So I was super stoked for this, and I want to tell you up front, I'm a huge fan of the series for anybody who doesn't know. And I always look forward to these movies because they're such a fun time. And even in the worst of them, like VHS Viral, they typically have at least one segment that kind of makes them worth watching. But it can be a stretch sometimes. This movie's 2 hours long, and I was so excited because of the inclusion of Justin Long and his brother writing and directing a segment, which is the next to last segment in the movie. But then you had Mike Flanagan and his wife directing and writing one. I think Mike Flanagan just wrote it. I think his wife, Katie Siegel, I think is her name. Not Katie Sagal from Married with Children and Futurama, but Katie Siegel, his wife from Haunting of Hill House, I think directed the final one. But getting to the actual stories, we have 5 stories and 1 wraparound, so technically 6 new tales. And this one was going to be very sci-fi themed, very alien themed, if you will. But not all the stories are dedicated to aliens. It's kind of like, particularly the Justin Long one, and arguably the first actual short you get to see in the movie, are not completely exclusively dedicated to aliens and sci-fi. So that may appeal to you, it may not. But overall, this is a giant alien movie, which I was excited for. 85, the previous movie from last year, had a lot of more sci-fi elements anyway, and I enjoyed that for the most part, but it was kind of a mess of a movie. It was one of the weaker Shudder films. I'm going to tell you up front, VHS Beyond might be the weakest of the Shudder movies. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a possibility that I like this less than 85, and that really surprises me. That also really hurts me to say that, because VHS Viral seems to always be the absolute worst, thank God. This was not a complete loss of a movie, but I would be lying to you if I did not say that every single short in this movie, including the wraparound, was a disappointment, if I'm being honest. That goes for everybody's. Mike Flanagan's involvement, Katie Siegel's involvement, Justin Long and his brother's involvement, everybody's involvement. So let me go ahead and start talking about some of the stories. Of course, this will be spoiler-free. The wraparound story we start this movie with is that essentially in 2021, there was a Redditor, of course we have to include Reddit into something, who claims that he bought some VHS tapes at a flea market that are supposed proof of aliens existing. And the tapes are literally shown to us just called Proof 1 and Proof 2. This entire wraparound is basically a documentary filmmaker and a very nicely shot framing and everything. Every other in between each segment and short that you get to see, like always with the wraparound stories. And they are boring. They are boring. Because we'll interrupt between 2 shorts and we'll be like, and now we're going to bring in some VFX guys from YouTube or something that are basically our Red Letter Media equivalent and stand-ins, because we couldn't get Mike and Jay and Rich, to observe this and decide whether this footage is real or not. And then at the very end of the movie, you actually get to see the footage on the tape. And all of that wait for that shit, what a letdown. Going to the actual first short that you get to see entirely. Now this one being 2 hours long as a whole movie, this one was more dedicated to having like 20 minutes per segment, sometimes closer to 15, but really about 20 minutes overall per short, which gives them a lot of time to breathe, and sometimes too much room to breathe. This first short I actually liked a lot. Basically, there's like a group of like cops, sort of, kind of, but they're like their own special force, task force thing called Warden, which I don't have proof for this. There's no announcement for it, but I have a suspicion this is going to eventually spin off into its own franchise just called like Warden or the Warden Files or whatever. Anyway, this task force of people, including the guy that we're following in found footage, who is the newcomer to the group, are essentially trying to hunt down people who are kidnapping babies. There's like a lot of babies that have been kidnapped and nobody knows what's happening to them. And they eventually get a tip off to what's happening, where it's happening, and it leads them to this crack house looking place in the middle of nowhere. And these are, you know, cops and stuff. They're wearing cop outfits, they have guns and everything, and they basically go in from the get-go, flashing flashlights into the damn windows, even though they're a special force team, basically. And they go in there blasting away at everything like Danny DeVito. And it's kind of a cross. I don't want to tell you too much. I'm trying to be very careful here with what I tell you. It's kind of like a zombie thing at first, but then it's not. And I'm going to tell you up front, this one, the way it's made, I like it. It's not going to be for everybody, and I'll be honest, it had me kind of uneasy a couple of times. I thought the look of these things, these zombie-esque monsters, before you really figure out what they are, was very cool. And if we're going to debate and call them zombies, I love the spin on what's done with them. I really do. This was so promising. It really set up the movie for me and made me have some excitement for it, made me really pumped to watch the rest of the movie and see what would happen. It's the only good short in the movie. It's the only one for me, man. And other ones have concepts that set up pretty cool, and then they fall apart, or they're wasted. And this one was really cool. I enjoyed it. It's not excellent, but it was what it was. I liked it, and I liked finding out what was going on with, like, the babies. It was pretty awesome, man. Like I said, a lot of this movie is kind of a creature feature thing, even more beyond just an alien movie, and that was kind of cool. So getting to the next short here, I hated this one. Absolutely hated it. It started out kind of okay and promising, and it just fell apart. Basically, we follow a guy who is a paparazzi guy. He's an aspiring actor, but he can't really make these auditions work. And he has an assistant, and they travel on a moped in India, because this one's also subtitled, and they speak Indian. Indianese? I don't know what to call it. They go out to, after they get a tip, I think it's from, like, the main guy's brother or something like that, a friend, I don't remember what it said, but he gets a tip off that there is a mega superstar in the music industry, basically the Taylor Swift or Shakira of India, and that he should go to this place to maybe just scope out, like, her trailer and stuff where she's filming a music video. And when they get there, they see how harshly treated she is. We actually have a lot of this segment dedicated to the song that she made and the music video they're filming. You actually get to see it as if it's a music video. And that was not half bad. But then, there's some things that are revealed about this young woman. There are rumors that she may be a witch, and there's a lot more going on that you don't know about. And it's fucking bad. It's not good. I hated that segment. Probably one of the worst segments in VHS, in my opinion. Everybody's not going to feel like that. I'm not just saying that as some kind of prelude to everybody's going to have different tastes. I'm not just saying that. What I'm saying is more people are not dedicated to what I feel, but I think a lot of people would argue, in my case, that this is one of the easy bottom 5 worst segments ever in VHS history. But oh well. It still competes better a little bit than VHS Viral's entire movie, but not by much, you know? The next segment here I thought was going to be really, really great. It starts out on a great, promising note, and by the end of it, it kind of loses me. It's about a bunch of people that are skydiving. They're in the plane. The first, like, 5 minutes or so are them in the plane going up into the sky, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. What are we going to do with this? I thought it would just be like a survival horror type of thing, like falling out of the plane, maybe your chute doesn't go off, something like that, and it's similar to that. However, I really loved the twist they did here. They're looking out the windows, and all of a sudden the pilot is like, hey, what's that over there? They see a damn UFO in the daylight over top of the city, and it looks great. It would rival what District 9 used to have in that movie for, like, UFOs in the daytime. The special effects on that ship look really good. Even though it's kind of far away, it's easy to cover up bad FX that way. But it looked good. It really did. But then things go wrong when the plane begins to hit something, and then they have to panic. I don't want to tell you any more, but it's basically a mild alien invasion found footage movie in the daylight with people jumping out of a plane. And it had some great shit in it. But by the end of it, I just really think it was kind of disappointing. It really didn't live up to the skydiver concept as much as I wanted it to. There are I would say there's one really great death in this Skydiver segment that I loved. It's very, very good. Easily next to best segment in the movie. Now, this next segment is one that I think a lot of people are going to be debating on for years of whether it's too goofy, too stupid, too whatever, or really fun, really enjoyable. I'm more on the side of, by the end of this one, I wasn't into it. Just maybe it'll hold up better, because usually I watch this, usually when I'm getting ready for the newest VHS movie to release on Shudder, I watch the previous one again, so really within a year's time I'm watching these things twice. Sometimes if it's one like VHS 94 or 99, I love it so much that I watch it a couple of times before the new one releases, because of how much I enjoy it. This one might age better. Don't take this immediate review up for 100% of my opinion, because it might change in the future. Basically, there is a lady who has an advertisement online for her doggy daycare. I think her name is Becky or something. And on her fireplace, behind her, there are 3 dogs that are pets of hers, assumedly, that are taxidermied. And so we have our main characters being a bunch of commie SJW animal rights activists who are everything you could possibly imagine from that kind of person, and they decide to go undercover to possibly take their dog in a fake way to this place to drop it off. And they also have hidden cameras on them that they're going to film this lady in her house and everything. And there's a lot more than meets the eye going on there. They both... The 2 people coming to interview her, but not really, kind of doing the undercover thing, and the lady running the place, Becky or whatever her name is, they all keep catching each other in lies, and these characters are fucking stupid. All of them are stupid. May I add that this is the one that Justin Long and his brother wrote and directed, and it feels like Justin Long humor. I love Justin Long. I'm sure his brother is a lot like him. I wanted to love this so much, and I think if you're into body horror, there's a lot of cool stuff here you're gonna like. If you're a dog person, there's some strange shit in this. I don't know how to tell you otherwise. You may hate it, you may like it, I don't know. I'm very much in the mixed bag opinion of this particular one, but it was disappointing in my opinion, regardless of whether I think somebody would or would not like this particular segment. But it was rough. And then we get on to the final segment here before we continue the wrap-up, wraparound story, whatever, that ends the movie for like the last couple of minutes. This final segment was a short film, obviously, that was dragged on before, like, or beyond, let's say, like the title says, beyond, like, the 6 or 7 minutes it actually needed to be. Basically, there's a young lady who is a documentary filmmaker, very strange woman. She's wearing like long johns and shit, and she's going around in the Mojave Desert, which I thought was a great choice. This is, mind you, the Mike Flanagan, Katie Siegel movie, short. She decides to go around the Mojave Desert. Of course, everybody talks about the Mojave when it comes to alien UFO shit, if you believe in that stuff. I don't, but a lot of people discuss it, and this is a cool location for that. While she's interviewing weird people, she's not really getting much, so she decides to camp out there and see those lights that show up in the sky a lot of the time. And when she does that, she happens to see one of the lights land nearby, and she decides to get closer and closer and closer, because this young lady, not so much the actress, but the character, is a fucking idiot. And she gets worse as the story goes on. This turns out to be a spaceship. I don't want to tell you anything else. There's really not much more to tell you about. There's some cool ideas that would be better in like the Alien franchise. If we did like another race of aliens, it would be cool to see the concepts coming from this short in something like that. Like if Prometheus was done a little bit better, this could be some cool stuff to put in something like that. For what we got, again, it's too long. It's too long. It's like 15, 20 minutes long, and it is dragging ass the whole time, man. By the end of it, I don't even understand what's going on. It just made the movie end on a really bad note before the wraparound made it end even more pointlessly. So I was massively disappointed. But like I said, there is a chance by the next time I watch this movie, when it comes to DVD or Blu-ray, whatever, I might like it more on next watch. I think some of these, like the Doggy Daycare one, may improve. But overall, man, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like I said, a lot of these Shudder releases for VHS and VHS in general, whether it be the old ones before Shudder or now with Shudder, they tend to have half of a really good film with some really good shorts, maybe a really great wraparound, or they have stuff like 99 had for the wraparound being a little messy. Or they have like the previous film, 85, being mostly kind of lackluster. This one's kind of like that too. Yeah, this movie was watchable this time for the first time watching it, but when I got to like the hour mark of the movie, I looked up the time and I said, damn, this thing is still going for another hour. It's just not ready to end. And when I've looked forward to VHS all year long, that's not a good sign, man. I didn't do that with 85. I didn't do that with 99 or 94, even though I thought 85 was the weakest of those. This is a mess of a movie. It had maybe a little bit too much money into it because there's a lot more CGI here than I ever remember VHS ever having, which is bizarre. But there's a lot of really good practical effects, puppets, stuff like that, practical kills, that kind of stuff when you get those things. I really like that. I like how the many tie-ins to creatures and aliens, they're all pretty much, for the most part, practical, except for a couple of things. And they look really good. Specifically, in my opinion, I want to highlight the design of them. You don't really get a lot of cool, creative-looking monsters and creatures in movies nowadays. I think they look really good in this movie. For the designs they have, the way they go about executing those things on the screen, they look really good. Another thing I want to highlight is that the practical effects for the kills and stuff look great. Most of the time. When you go to segments like the one about the superstar singer Taylor Swift and India chick, no. No. What time is it? Okay, I got plenty of time. The music, there's not really any for the movie. It's kind of mostly well shot for what they're trying to do. Some of the stuff like that final segment from Mike Flanagan and Katie Siegel is a little bit trying to look more like found footage on VHS because they like shrink the aspect ratio and everything to look a little bit like classical days, like you're watching a VHS or VCR on your actual big screen, flat screen TV nowadays through the kind of component cables they have. Doesn't match up, but it's cool, the kind of things they're trying to go for. It just doesn't work out because the damn stories are not that great in this movie. I wanted to like VHS so much more, but between terrible character choices all the time, like in short to short, creator to creator, bad ideas, bad characters, bad writing, I do think the majority of performances from everybody were pretty good, to be honest with you. I don't think anybody was particularly bad, in my opinion. Maybe one actress that I don't want to get into too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but that's about it. I think looking at my list here, that's pretty much everything I have to cover here. I am struggling to figure out what to rate this thing, but to be honest, I'm not a fan of VHS Beyond. I thought this was one of the, probably the weakest of the Shudder era of VHS. It's probably just barely above VHS Viral for me, because at least this one's fairly competently made, has some creativity and some cool concepts in there. I would be surprised if people like this more than 85. I really would. And 85 was not received well from people like me. But I like it more a little bit now when I recently rewatched it and reviewed it for the channel. This one, I don't think it's going to age that well. I really, really don't. If I had to rate VHS Beyond on a 5-star basis, I'm going to be honest with you, I can't give it more than a mid 2 out of 5 stars, man. This was a fucking mess. And I feel bad about saying that because I'm such a big fan of the series, but dude, this one does not hold up. So anyway, have you seen VHS Beyond? Were you excited about it? I'm actually glad I went to bed last night, woke up this morning to watch it. I got up real early because I couldn't sleep. I was too excited for the movie, and well, damn, here we are. So, what would you rate the film? I kind of plan on doing a new VHS ranking, but I may or may not do that. I haven't really decided. We'll see. But what do you think about the film? Are you excited? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know everything you think about the film down below. What did you think was better, this or Salem's Lot? Maybe Salem's Lot will give me some hope. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching once again. God bless you all once again, and goodbye.